Hello and welcome to Razzmatazz with Rashi. My today's guest is an author, a columnist, a professional translator, and online content and social media consultant. She's a bilingual blogger, formerly a radio announcer and a lecturer. She has an MPhil in English literature from Punjab University and speaks on issues like gender, identity, and marginalization on various platforms. A single parent and a fibromyalgia survivor, she believes she derives her strength from being a voracious reader and a tea connoisseur. Both her blogs have been awarded at the Orange Flower Awards, and she has been associated with reputed national and international addresses like The Mighty, The Financial Express, Mad in Asia Pacific, Satya Hindi, News Laundry, Menstrupedia, Women's Web, Navbharat Times, Feminism in India, She the People TV, The Armchair General, Momspresso, She Rose, Bonbology, Writer's Melon, and Sarneda. Her translation, titled A Night in the Hills, is a collection of short stories by Manav Kaul, published by Westland Books in 2019. She also translates for other forums like the Sahitya Academy and the Raza Foundation. Her ebook, Mental Health A Primer, is available on Amazon Kindle, and her current ebook is titled Papa and I. Her poetry and fiction has been published online and print in India, UK, and Canada. And some of her poems can be read with a hot cup of coffee on the walls of the Human Being Cafe, Toronto. She has been featured amongst 10 Indian women bloggers you must follow and 25 writers whose work readers enjoyed the most at Women's Web in 2018, and also in Most Empowering Moments by Indian Women by the She the People TV. Her areas of work are mental health, sexual wellness, gender, and marginalization, and her favorite medium remain poetry and theatre. So let's welcome our today's author, Pooja Priyamvada.
Hello everyone, I am Pooja Priyamvada, and today I am going to talk about my book, Papa and I. Now, as you know, the title itself suggests that the book is about my late father. He passed away in 2015 and I am his only child. I was very attached to him. I believe he was a very evolved father. In these pandemic times, I see across the world so many people losing people who were dear to them. I see a lot of talk about death and misery. That doesn't happen a lot in India. And I also see a lot of need and space for conversations about hope, about lessons, life lessons, and how our near ones, our dear ones, stay with us even after they pass away. Papa and I has been my first A to Z blogging challenge. I have been writing about Papa off and on various platforms. Myself being a parent, I have been also practicing a lot of what parenting is and how I learned parenting his way. So it was my way to kind of put all that material together in the form of a book for anybody who has lost a loved one to death, sometimes even to life. But then how to keep the lessons alive, how to deal with that grief, how to deal with that loss, and also to find hope, to find nourishment in relationships, emotional nourishment through the memories of relationships, and particularly in India where fathers are not so celebrated as usually mothers are. So it was also my attempt to bring forth the image and life of a father who was a very dedicated parent, and make the book a concrete thing out there for anybody who relates to a parent in a similar way, or who has lost a parent, or anybody who's looking for some kind of some kind of a reconciliation with the idea of being a parent in this extremely difficult modern world. Thank you.
This book surely is straight from the heart. So is there a special message that you're trying to convey through your book?
So what is this book about? What is the message of this book? The name itself is quite suggestive, you know. I have seen quite a lot of books where offsprings have written about their dads. In India, you know, what I commonly have observed, that motherhood is a very glorified notion. Mothers are often have held on to that pedestal of greatness, of being kind, of being loving and nurturing. And often Indian fathers are portrayed as people who are distant, who are unemotional, who have no active contribution or any kind of support in the upbringing of a child. Fathers are here supposed to be the authority figure, the head of the family, the disciplinarian, the person who enforces rules in a family. They are rarely seen as people who care for you, who nurture you, who can look after you, who can look after a household. And remember, I am not a this age child, you know. I was born back in 1979. At that time, we did not even have access to disposable diapers in Shimla. But my father chose to be a hands-on father from the very beginning. From the cloth diapers right up to the sanitary pad, he was there with me to tell me how things work, to tell me the pros and cons of the world, to tell me about relationships, about life in general, about managing my money, about gender, about a lot of other issues in India that do not get talked about in families. We would often talk about religion, about he came in 1947 as a child refugee from the partition. So about the partition, about history, about communalism. He was an engineer, so he taught me how to use all kind of tools. Thanks to him, I can repair all the gadgets in my house, well, most of them, automobiles. And he never made me have that barrier in my mind that I'm a woman, so I am supposed to, or I'm a girl, so these are certain things that I cannot do or must not do. And also the fact that equality of gender, you know, he never taught me to be like a boy. I was enough being a girl. I was as good as any other human being. There was no standard that I have to meet. I was very good in humanities. I was a very good student percentage wise, but there was never a pressure to take sciences, which is so common in this country. He said, if humanities is where your heart is, go ahead. He let me make my mistakes, and every time I had a fall or I had bad experiences, he would stand by me. He would never say, see, I told you. He would say, okay, I had warned you about this, but now that you are experienced this failure, I hope you will use it further in your life. So my attempt at this book, you know, is to send out this message that fathers can be equally or sometimes even more nurturing than a mother or anybody else, and not only to their offsprings but to homes and families and society at large. And this toxic masculinity in which we tie fathers with, you know, all hardness, strictness, and being an unemotional person is so unfair to fathers. So this book then is to all the fathers there.
Very well said, Pooja, and I completely agree with what you said. And now I would request you to read a few lines from your book.
Hi, I'm now going to read out a small poem which is there in the book, which is there on my blog. Me and my father were both believers of the Zen philosophy of life. So this poem is called Zen in Life and Death. And this is how it goes. We used to talk a lot about death, and yet your physical absence is so heavy to bear. The suddenness with which you disappeared. Person, body, ashes, water, nothing. Was that the last birthday teaching me metamorphosis one more time? I was always your strong girl. In your version of me, I could take on the world on my own. Maybe I could, because you stood by me as a shield. Now you are my arrow and my bow, my aims and my means. You were warmth, Papa, you were warmth, and now you are light. I read this poem to myself every night, and I know you're watching me do it right. Here is a poem I read often for my dad. This part is from Saint Augustine, and it is in my book also. Love never disappears, for death is a non-event. I have merely retired to the room next door. You and I are the same. What we were for each other, we still are. Speak to me as you always have. Do not use a different tone. Do not be sad. Continue to laugh at what made us laugh. Smile and think of me. Life means what it has always meant. The link is not severed. The link is not severed. Why should I be out of your soul if I am out of your sight? I will wait for you. I am not here, but just on the other side of this path. You see, all is well. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Pooja. It was absolutely wonderful to have you on my show. And now stay tuned for my next episode as I come up with another interesting author, and keep watching Razzmatazz with Rashi.